kick out at one. Kicked out at one.
You good?
The best.
All right.
Forgot there's a cough button or a mute button, so I put my head to the side.
You're just doing one stretch, just doing a big old stretch. Just self-abominable stretch. The abominable stretch. The frost gimmick. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kick Out at One, a wrestling adjacent podcast. My name is Vivian Jade, and this is my co-host, Mikey Wild. Hello.
Ahoy!
Yes.
How are you, Viv?
I am doing fan-freaking-tastic for 10 o'clock at night.
I do like that we call it wrestling adjacent, so that when we talk about true crime and murders, I can be like, well, I mentioned that it was a wrestler.
Yeah. It's definitely wrestling-oriented, wrestling-themed in a way, and we're definitely going to have a lot of wrestling stuff going in and about it, but it's not going to be solely wrestling-centric. We're not monomaniacal in our wrestling thematics.
So you say, but literally all I think about is wrestling. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm thinking about, but would Goldust have done it this way? So it's really...
I don't know that Goldust would have ever done it in a way that you would have predicted.
Right. Every song I'm hearing, I'm like, okay, but it doesn't have Ass Man in there once, so I don't know why this is even on here.
Given the amount of years that you have been in the industry, it's totally fair that you would approach a variety of things with that perspective.
I suppose I should mention that then, that
yeah,
I've been a professional wrestler for 15 years, going on 16 next March.
Next March
will be 16 years. Yes.
Good golly, your career will be old enough to fuck in certain states.
No, that's,
a way to put it.
I was gonna say they're still in that R. Kelly. My career's in that R. Kelly realm of attraction. Once I turn 18, my career turns 18 years old. It's not gonna have anything to do with it. I know it.
Yeah.
This is not a great start, guys.
No, it's not.
I saw it going here at some point, but I should have known better.
2.5 minutes in was probably not where you expected the career nosedive. But there we go. This is the introductory episode. This is where we're going to just right off the bat let you know kind of where we're heading to this before we get anyone else involved. Dip our feet in the water, as it were. Let you know who we are, what we're doing, and why we're subjecting you to this shit.
And we have tons of stuff planned going forward in ways of interview segments, all that fun stuff. But just to get things started, we were going to kind of give an introductory to who we are, what we got going on, how we got into wrestling, what we enjoy about wrestling, what we dislike about wrestling, what we dislike about you guys.
Yeah,
we just enjoy about
you
just
specifically
on the audience.
Charlie in Starkville. I've heard of his name a few times.
Yeah,
too many questions.
All the older gals out there, what's the correct amount of perfume to have on? Wrong, less than that.
Way too much. God damn it, I'm drowning. I'm not swimming in this shit. One sample is enough. You can't just go into the goddamn Macy's and take every fucking sample and act like that's for free.
They disgust me. Maybe we edit out that old people disgust me. That's not the market I'm in.
We ever go into our demographics and find it's all 50 plus, maybe we'll go and retroactively.
But do know, guys, that we do have interviews set up. We have a lot of stuff. We're also going to make sure we're interactive with you guys. What kind of stuff you're looking for? If you want us to do some reviews, old pay-per-view reviews, show reviews, new reviews, all sorts of stuff planned. But it also depends on what you guys like. We're not just doing this for the sake of doing it. Well, we are doing it more so. It started with just to talk to friends, in wrestling and have a good time.
But I have subjected myself to a Peacock subscription, so there is at least a little bit of sacrifice has gone into this.
I actually have to do that. Me and my roommate were just watching The Office together, and I thought she was on her account, and it's just 30 seconds like every 5-6 minutes for ads. And I was like, I can't do ads anymore. But unfortunately, the Peacock I was using, because I watched The Office just ungodly amount. I'm a part of the #1 The Office Chicago trivia team, so no big deal there.
Oh yeah, humble brag.
Unfortunately, one of the gals who was on that trivia team, I was using her login, and she passed away in December.
Oh.
So not only do I not want to go on it, because, like, obviously, but every time I log on to it, it's a stark reminder of, oh, that's right, she's not here. So I try not to do that. So I will watch new pay-per-views provided someone pays for my subscription, for sure.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So we will set up a Patreon. This is our Patreon ad.
Right. I was saying that's not true. I watch almost all wrestling anyway, so I'm more than...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just a matter of watching every show every week, but I'll watch pay-per-views, no question.
Oh, yeah. We're not leveraging a person's death to segue into a fucking Patreon ad bit.
Me and me mom watch AEW Dynamite every Wednesday, and we try to watch Monday Night Raw every Monday, just because it's quality mom time, so I can at least talk about those.
Well, I actually tried to watch Dynamite this week, because you asked if I was going to watch it this week. I said I wasn't planning to. I tried to log in with my fiance's grandma's cable login to the streaming service for the cable network.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then it didn't work. So while I was going through that fucking rigmarole, everything fell to shit. And I got that you've tried to log in too many times, try to reset your shit. And I'm like, I've been down this path before. I'm just going to burn the whole fucker down. So it just never fucking mind.
I can tell you the first match opened up. It was Darby and
Brody King.
Brody King, thank you. I always want to call them by shoot names when I know them, and it's very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Brody King and Darby in a coffin match. That was a lot of fun. Brody got ungodly amount of blood, but there was a lot of fun.
A theme throughout the show, from what I've seen on clips.
Yeah, no question. Madison Rayne worked Jade Cargill. It was a hit or miss, but by and large, it was enjoyed. And I always enjoy Madison Rayne, and Jade's gotten so much better. But what she lacks in ring, she makes up for in spades in charisma and how she presents herself. So I absolutely adore that woman. And the Chris Jericho and Moxley match for the belt was very good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Moxley is my mom's favorite wrestler. So anytime.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Did not know him prior to WWE. But his work as Ambrose, she loved from the moment she saw him. And this is the first time I've known her to have a favorite wrestler since her last favorite wrestler passed away, and that was Kerry Von Erich.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that's a gap.
Not since 1993, February 18th, 1993. She does not have a favorite wrestler. So
tis a gap.
So yeah, he's a big deal to her. But that was a lot of fun, and it looks like their Punk came back, made his return. So it looks like they may be setting up All Out title versus title match since Moxley's the interim, and I'll be looking forward to that for sure.
The unification, because we're going to the show.
Yes,
we can announce that.
Well, yeah, well, yes, well, no, we will. I 100% have tickets to the show, but whether or not I will be in attendance there or be able to work the show from an extra talent standpoint remains to be seen. So we'll be getting those emails out, but either way, we'll be able to check it out. So
be my first major show that I'll be in attendance for. I can barely contain myself. The excitement is about.
How many wrestling shows have you been to in general? Like, because this is the first pro wrestling,
this
like
is the
major wrestling one. So what other ones have you been to?
In my life, I have been to 2 wrestling events ever.
Wow.
The first one was your classic, like, the wrestlers were paid in pizza if they're lucky. Like maybe 10 people are in a gymnasium. One of the matches was like, if you lost, you had to put on makeup. Like, it was the early 2000s. Like, it was not good. Mikey's taking a selfie.
No, I'm not. I'm taking a picture of something from one of the other shows.
Okay.
If my camera worked. I forgot that you're screen recording, so I'm sure they're like, what is he doing? I'm sorry. Keep going.
So I went to that because I wanted to see it and I was uninitiated at the time. We'll get more into that at another point. Skip ahead like 10, 15 years.
Jeez.
I see another step up. I went from 10 to 15 people in the audience to how many people would you say was at that show? It was the one that you worked.
Yes. I would probably say 7,500 max.
7,500 people in the local auditorium. Oh yeah, hey, yeah. I made you a sign.
Yes.
I made you, and you hung it up on the wall.
I did. It's hung up next to my Monster Squad tights that I have a whole area of tights that I've retired. When I was known as the American Nightmare, Mikey Wild, and then
before Cody.
Yes, and then when Cody was introduced, I was like, oh, well, it makes more sense for him to be doing the thing.
Yeah. You didn't pitch a fit. You didn't pitch a fit like the Revolt did when FTR came in.
It gave me an opportunity to be creative again, which is what I've done. So I was more than happy to do that. And so I retired my Michael Myers tights, my Freddy Krueger tights, my Jason tights, my Monster Squad tights, and they're all up there and your sign's right next to it.
That's so cute. I'll definitely put that up if you don't mind. Put that picture up while I'm editing.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, I came to that show because we had met and you were working the show and it was close by to where I live. And so I drove down there. I wore your shirt and I made you a sign. And so I went from 10 to 15 people at the first show I saw and then to 100 people, the local bingo hall community center. And that's been it. So now I'm going to be going to 15,000 seat arena for the second biggest company in the fucking United States. And I'm like, that's a huge jump, dude.
It'll be an absolute blast.
I have no doubt.
We met in a mental health hospital because I think that is going to be an important part of the podcast is advocating mental health. Everybody that comes on, I will probably talk with them. Anything we're doing, I'll promote mental health. How we got to the mental health facility will probably be a story for another time. But
yeah, it's part of why it's called Kick Out at 1.
There you go. But I did have a Royal Rumble 1992 shirt on because it is my favorite match type. Royal Rumble 92 is my favorite match of all time.
Nice.
And you noticed that I had this on.
Yeah.
And I was on new medication, so first I'm like, wait, what are you even talking? Oh, I'm wearing a wrestling shirt. I'll say I've been watching since in the womb. My mother was obsessed with professional wrestling. The Von Erich, she loved Kerry Von Erich. So I've been watching wrestling since I was born. And there's not many people, I think, just in public that I could wear a 1992 Royal Rumble shirt and they would know who it was or what was going on. Were you watching? Because were you watching at that point?
I wasn't
How
born
old are you?
I'm 27.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
You didn't know how old I was, dude?
No. Do you know how old I am?
No.
Okay, then.
That's fair enough.
Maybe. All right.
You don't want to say?
You know what they say about glass houses?
Fair enough. You know what?
Don't masturbate in the daytime is what they say about glass houses.
Fair enough. I shouldn't have said anything. But yeah.
Okay,
no.
so well, obviously you weren't watching that. So when did you start watching wrestling?
Here we go. Well, being born in 1995, I obviously was not alive for the 1992 Royal Rumble.
You missed out on that hot diesel run? Okay.
See, that's the thing. I looked it up because I came across the concept of birth champions. Who was the champion?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, who was the champion when you were born? At the time, WCW was also was the number 2 company. So who was the WWF and WCW champion? My WWF birth champion was Diesel. And the WCW champion was Hulk Hogan.
Of course.
Those are my birth champions.
I would have to look into the...
Yeah, it's a Wikipedia page. You could just look up list of the champions and they have them all listed out in chronological order.
I would have to assume, well, not have to assume, I mean, it's without question because I was born right before WrestleMania 3, so Hulk Hogan was a WWF champion.
I would assume, yeah.
I would have to see who was the NWA champion at the time. 87, I mean, you're right, between Flair and Steamboat at that point in time. So
yeah.
I would have to check to make sure, but having Hogan and Flair as birth champions, not awful. Not awful.
There's definitely worse. You could have 95 Hogan as
yeah, that's rough.
Because that's pre NWO, so he's in his
he's in his Baywatch his Baywatch ripoff Thunder in Paradise Hulk Hogan mode with sweatbands instead of wrist tape.
Oh my god. I didn't actually start watching wrestling until I came across a promo on YouTube in 2014. It was a long time. I was if I was born in 95, I would have to be fucking, how old would that make me? Quick math.
It would 19 years.
19 years old. I was 19. Fucking hell. So I'd be 19 years old. Thank you for doing the math on that, because I had nothing. I came across the promo. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock right before Survivor Series 2001.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Margaritaville promo.
That's brilliant. What a promo to grab you. That's so awesome.
That was my first promo. And then very quickly after that, I saw my first match on YouTube. It was The Shield versus the Wyatt family at Elimination Chamber 2014.
Oh my God, what an unbelievable match.
And so those two things were my first introductions. And right after that, my first favorite wrestler became The Undertaker. I don't know between those two things how The Undertaker became my first favorite wrestler. What happened is that after that, the build was to WrestleMania 31. And that was the build to Wyatt versus Undertaker. And so it was the connection from the Wyatt match to Undertaker. And so I started to learn about the streak. And if you learn about the streak, you're learning about the spine of WWE through the past fucking 25 years. And it made me enthralled with wrestling history for the WWE for that period of time. And that's kind of where my wrestling trivia, and I started watching wrestling YouTube and started with What Culture and then a whole bunch of other wrestling YouTube channels. And that's kind of where it just took off.
Yeah, I mean, you took in a lot of wrestling in a short amount of period. You have a rather vast knowledge for somebody who's only started watching in 2014.
Yeah, I was freebasing that shit, bro.
which honestly is incredible because, especially in 2014, I mean, if you just go back 5 years, it's just the doldrums of whatever era they wanted to call that. I don't know if they were the PG era then. Yeah. I don't know. But man, if you were taking in that much wrestling, you would have been gone quick. So it's awesome that you were looking up different eras, different variations, seeing the through line between the eras. So you said in that time, The Undertaker came out as your favorite wrestler. Has that since changed, or is that still your favorite wrestler?
Well, Undertaker has changed a lot ever since he got more humanized, started doing more interviews. Right. I would say the market has expanded more, and it's less easy now to say who my favorite wrestler is.
Of course.
There are way too many options for me now, and it's less easy to say. I am a huge fan of a lot of wrestlers, and I'm also autistic, so it's very hard for me to just say one is my favorite.
Right.
So I have to make a list and check it 7 times.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a conversation we will table for in the future. We plan on doing list episodes of top 5 faves, going from tag team to promo to all different types of stuff. So if you guys have a certain thing you would like to see in way of a topic of a top 5, let us know. But I think we have to start off at a top 5 wrestlers, even if the show is a 20 minutes long, because I think that's going to be our objective here. Is to our interviews will always be lengthy, but I think we're going to have ones that are fun for you guys that you guys can just take in and digest. You don't need to talk. I don't need to talk about who my favorite wrestlers are for an hour and a half.
No.
But I mean, you and I know when it comes to talking, me specifically with wrestling, I start talking about wrestling and I could just go. Well, what about the match with this? Have you seen this? I love when this. So, yeah. But yes, we will narrow down actual lists of favorites and things like that in future episodes. Definitely.
Yeah.
Going up through all of the wrestling and then having met me, has there been any changes in opinion about certain wrestling because of you have a more inside view of when, and with the dirt sheets as well, of what's going on? Does that change opinions about who you like, dislike, and stuff like that? Or
a little bit. It's hard as a modern wrestling fan to ignore stuff that you hear and stuff that you do. Is a bit of a weird analogy to make, but have you ever played D&D?
I have not, but I know plenty about it.
In D&D, there's a concept called metagaming, where you as a player may know a bit of knowledge, but your character does not know that bit of information. And so you, as the player, are not supposed to play with that information in mind. However, if you do play with that bit of information in mind, you are acting out of character and may do something that is, incorrect. And so I feel like a lot of times certain sects of internet wrestling fandom might metagame or attempt to metagame based off of certain inside wrestling reports that seem to indicate what is going on behind the scenes, with sometimes sketchy information, sometimes this, sometimes that, and they don't actually follow what's going on TV. They just follow what's going on with some contract information or some sort of such going on with stuff going on back there. And the problem now is these companies can't just ignore that that's happening, so they have to play into that. But now that they're playing into that, now it's a fucking vicious cycle, and now what's real and what's not. And so now it's a game of who can outplay those who are trying to play it, and
who can outwork, and it's like, no, please stop.
Exactly. For me personally, the way I approach it is very simple. I have always been someone who tries to enjoy it for myself. I'll take in someone else's opinion or view, but I have to watch it or read it or whatever, the source material itself, and try to enjoy it from there.
That's it, man. Is all I care about is that I care about it and I enjoy it. Like there's things that people will watch and it will blow them away. Meanwhile, I'm seeing way too many things that I get annoyed by in a wrestling match, psychology wise. I'm just like, this match could be 5 stars to somebody and 3 to me just because I can't. Meanwhile, I could have a comedy match or something that I adore, yet people are knocking down the doors to rip it apart. So wrestling is subjective.
As are all forms of art.
That's true. Like for instance, some people love great music. Some people like Toby Keith. These things are different.
I grew up in Kansas, man. One point of my childhood, I liked 3 Toby Keith songs, and now I listen to them and I'm like, ugh.
I think I even know 3 Toby Keith songs. And keep in mind, I love country music, especially old country music. I love old country music.
I got a lot of classic country on my playlist.
Put a boot in your ass and see American Way is not one of them.
No. God, no.
My dog has jumped up on my bed and made himself quite comfortable, and every now and then he'll just look up at me like, I'm trying to sleep. Like, okay, calm down, guy. Calm down, guy.
Damn. Well, to draw a contrast between my inch deep and a mile wide kind of wrestling knowledge, there is your vastly deep and experience based wrestling knowledge. Like you said, you've been watching it since before you were born, and you are actually a participant into this vastly confounding and interesting business that we call professional wrestling. What was it about it that captivated you? I was able to pin it to a single promo and a single match. If you watched it since the beginning, can you remember it that well, the beginning of it?
I can't tell you the beginnings of it very well. I can tell you the first memory I have of anything wrestling wise, and that was WrestleMania 6. Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. I actually have that Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior tattooed on me. Because this was my first memory of wrestling. And WrestleMania 6 was in 1990, which would have made me 3 years old. That's the first thing I have. Now, to be fair, you're going to say, oh, let's see the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior tattoo, but it's a Ultimate Warrior Care Bear riding a Hulk Hogan unicorn that is surfing. So it's not really the tattoo you would think it would be.
It's still awesome.
And just to stay on point here, I'm straight edge, so you know this was not a drunk tattoo. this was I've made so many poor decisions sober, I could not even begin to imagine the decisions I would make inebriated. So WrestleMania 6 is the first memory I really have. Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan when I was young, I was just enamored by, and of course being young. So throw Sting in there, by the way. I absolutely adored Sting when I was young, which is really fun because I have a picture of me dressed up as Sting when I was really young for Halloween. And then just this past October, was it October? It was November when I worked with AEW. I got a picture with Sting. So that has come full circle. So that's very fun. I think I was so enamored by the colors, the Big Ten guys with colors just illuminating from their bodies. And then as I got older, so Hulk Hogan first and foremost was my favorite wrestler. Then it was Ultimate Warrior was right up there. He didn't stay around long.
No.
It continued to be Hulk Hogan. And I'll say I was primarily a WWF guy, but we watched WWF and NWA/WCW. Plus stuff that we would get sent from, we had relatives, my mom rather, on my mom's side, she has relatives that lived south. Like she was into wrestling down in Georgia, like stuff like that, how she was getting the WCCW stuff from the Von Erichs, Freebirds and things like that.
I was wondering how she got that stuff, because I was like, that's. Yeah,
it was right, like, being up in the Illinois, Wisconsin area at the time, I'd like, how are you getting that? Well, yeah, she's traveling, she's able to see these things, and she's going to events as well when they were anywhere around. I don't remember me having like a favorite wrestler once Hogan left the WWF. Like, I was so sad for him to be gone. Now, keep in mind, this is 1992 when he's leaving, so I'm just 5 at the time. But I recognize when he came back to win the championship at WrestleMania 9, I was like, this sucks. Like, I was 6 years old. I'm so like, no, this sucks. Like, Bret Hart rules. Bret Hart's never been my favorite wrestler, but I absolutely love Bret and Owen, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair. But I don't remember having a favorite wrestler again until Shawn Michaels started emerging as a babyface, which was during the Diesel run.
My birth champion.
Your birth champion. Growing up, man, I was enamored with the really cool gimmicks. The Undertaker. Undertaker was one of my favorite wrestlers and then remained my favorite wrestler for a long time. I loved The Undertaker. But it boiled down to the gimmicks, the superhero-ness of it, the bad versus evil of it, being able to talk people into the seats. I loved that. And then, of course, as I started to enjoy the art form of wrestling more and more, and I was able to get my hands on stuff from Japan and stuff from like Stampede and things like that, I became much more intrigued with the in-ring aspect with less going ons of a Hulk Hogan promo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more interested in what was going on in the ring, what was the story being told psychology wise, not just through the ring, but through the weeks, shows to shows, things like that. I had no idea like indie wrestling existed on such an indie level. I was 19 and like they would come to my local college and stuff like that, like MCW, which was CM Punk was on the show, so CM Punk wrestling at my local college was always fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I had no idea it existed like from 3 towns over. You know what I mean? I turned 19 and my buddy got me like a styrofoam spray painted NWO belt.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, yeah, I'm going to walk around all over the place with this because duh. And my buddy was working at a gas station at the time. So we just went and visited him because we had nothing going on. He had flyers for POW Wrestling, which was taking place that night at a town over. And it used to be a different company. They had just changed to POW Wrestling. This was their very first show. So I went and checked out that very first show. And then during intermission, just went and approached the owner, like, how do I get involved with it? And he said, talk to me after the show. And so they tried to convince me to do like, you should do a fantasy camp, which is where you pay to do some stuff, see if you like it. I'm like, I don't need to pay to see if I like wrestling. I like wrestling. I'll just sign up. And so that's how I actually got involved in wrestling. And it's been a whirlwind of a blasty ever since.
Yeah, I remember seeing a picture with I don't remember if I think it was with you and your mom and wearing the POW shirts, and you've worked with POW several times. POWW.
POWW Entertainment. So POW Purely Obsessed Wrestling World Entertainment. That's where I was trained. It's still my home promotion. I haven't worked there since the beginning of COVID, but I still consider them my home promotion because that's where I was trained. The owner, Jimmy Blaze, I was trained by Rough Crossing, Got Spade, Chris Cairo, all great guys, and all still, I don't want to say still there because we've all ventured out and then we would continue to come back. So yes, over the years, I've continued to wrestle with POW, but then just been branching out.
Yeah, you got to travel the territories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You, Mr. Drive to New York for a cheesecake or whatever the hell it was.
It's really funny too, because one of my closest friends in wrestling, Casanova Valentine, he's a deathmatch wrestler out of Brooklyn. At the time, his brother lived in Iowa. Now, if you know anything about the Midwest, you know if you need to go somewhere, you're going to drive. And so he's in Brooklyn. He lives on the East Coast. So for him, it's like if it's more than an hour, it's like, whoa, dude, not a big deal. You don't have to worry about driving. So he worked in 2017 when I ran a show. He worked that show, and his brother drove from Iowa 5 hours. And Casanova was just like, I can't believe he drove so far to see me. I was like, dude, 5 hours isn't a bad drive. Like for me, it was like, oh, that's nothing. But I didn't realize like how different it is all over the place. Like I worked one of his shows, and it was a 9-hour drive, and to me it was nothing. That one's not true because I flew into his show and then flew back the same night because I had something else in the morning. But we drove to Buffalo to do a show, and that was just like, okay, do a show, no problem. And then I mean, I've had weekends where it's like I've had friends where they don't have anything going on in the weekend. I don't have anything going on, so I drove down just into Knoxville to grab dinner and then drive back. So drive. When gas prices were,
yeah,
okay enough. Now, if I'm going to pay the money to drive down to Knoxville to fill up a tank of gas by myself without throwing guys in the car for a show, I might as well just grab a plane ticket at that point.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Yeah, so that's pretty much everything I've been doing wrestling wise. Don't get me wrong, I have stories abound and I have opinions abound, and I can't wait to get into all that stuff, but that's the bits and pieces of where I was, what I came up doing, and why I'm enamored with wrestling so gosh darn much.
Yeah. And we'll get on to all that as we go.
I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but you do voice work.
Yes.
If you guys can't tell already, she can do quite a, like, the voice inflection and her ability.
Why, thank you.
Has there been any thought for you to get into wrestling at all?
Why, on occasion, I have indeed. I have thought about it. I don't know that I have the physical capacity to do actual working and bumps and whatnot. But in terms of commentary and ring announcing, that has been stuff I have considered. I don't have the first goddamn clue where to start for that. But when it comes to getting my name out there and building up a resume, I have done a lot of narration and commentary for other stuff, and I have a lot of experience doing video production and other stuff on an amateur / semi-professional level for a while. So it is definitely something I have considered a lot.
And I think your voice is the voice, and your abilities with it can be a great asset to so many different things, whether we're talking voiceovers, do promo packages, interviewing, ring announcing, commentary. I even told you, because I'm not so sure how soon it will be, but I do have my own wrestling company, and then when I run that again, I definitely want you as a ring announcer, or depending on how the streams are, we're doing commentary. So hopefully something can come out of this, and anybody hears you, sees you, and of course, obviously, I'm championing on your behalf, so we'll get you somewhere.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That is extremely, extremely gratifying to hear. Thank you very much.
Well, it's not the olden days where we need to break people in, see how bad they want it. It's like anybody who loves professional wrestling and thinks they can lend themselves to helping in professional wrestling. Nobody enters wrestling to get rich. They do it because they love wrestling. So I want people in wrestling who are here, 1, because they love wrestling, and 2, because they're good people. I don't care how talented you are. If you're an awful person, I don't want you anywhere near me.
Yeah, man.
And you are not that. So,
why, thank you, good sir. Well, thank you. I very much appreciate it.
And going forward, again, guys, we're going to be doing so much different stuff when it comes to. We have a lot of interviews lined up. We need to get them scheduled and taken care of. We do have opinion pieces. We'll have lists. We can do reviews. So hopefully you'll continue to build a resume, not just with what you're able to do voice-wise, but knowledge-wise as well with wrestling.
I made a giant spreadsheet. Well, maybe we'll take a look at that at some point.
Yeah, it really is incredible, the time and dedication to it. And I remember you said, "Hey, would you want to see this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I would want to see it." And I remember you were like, "Whoa, you were the only person that's ever been excited to see
Seriously, yeah.
Like,
it's very true.
It was essentially asking, like, "Hey, are you a complete dork?" "Yeah, what dorky things do you have to show me?"
Yeah.
I was there for it.
Well, I hope one day you will be on the spreadsheet. That would be fantabulous. Oh.
That says get us out. I'll just say get us out.
Let's go home. Let's go home. Thank you all very much for watching this, our debut episode of Kick Out at 1, a wrestling adjacent podcast, aka whatever the hell we wind up talking about in and around the realm of professional wrestling. I have been Vivian Jade, along with my esteemed
Mikey Wild.
I'm Mikey Wild. I just want to make sure I picked it up.
I'm talking into a ball. I have had an absolute blast. I hope you did too, Mikey.
Cheers.
And I hope you all did at home as well. I hope we continue to do so as we go down this wild and writhing path of pain and writhing path of wonderment and mystery. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whenever the hell you watch this. We're hoping to get this up on Spotify, Apple Music. Right now, we do not have it there as of recording this, but we're hoping to. As of right now, it'll just be on YouTube. We're doing clips, and we do have a TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. We have a TikTok, and it followed you on there as well whenever you decided to follow me back.
I have not downloaded. Like I stopped posting on TikTok so long ago.
We were good at it. You were really good at it.
Thank you.
TikToks.
I will be back on TikTok because I have a lot of videos and stuff. With the new tag team I'll be in, we'll have a lot of videos and doing a lot of different things. So I got to get that TikTok going. I'll make sure I download it.
So yeah, follow Mikey and the Kick Out at One social medias and me. All our social media links are in the description down below and on the YouTube page. It's all listed on there. All the links is all over the place. Follow us everywhere. Thank you all very much for watching and listening on all the places and all the things. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.
I kick out at one. Hook of the leg and a kick out at one. A kick out at one. Kick out at one. Hooks the leg and a kick out at one. Kicked out at one.